Today we're going to learn a way to get out of a hair pulling if you happen to be in a fight or in a situation where somebody grabs your hair. Today we're talking about hair pulling. When you were in high school, did it seem like all of the fights always included hair pulling? I guess between the girls. I feel like even sometimes between the guys. Why is hair pulling? I guess it's just so easily accessible, but I don't know. Who knows? What the heck? So I always do a little bit of research before I present the self-defense because I want to prove that this is something that is valuable. And I feel like people already know that hair pulling happens a lot, and I think that getting out of a hair pulling situation would be valuable, and I think most people know that. But of course, I still want to offer some true crime to you along the way. Hair pulling is so common that it is used as evidence in many trials. So if hair is pulled by the root and root pulp is left on the hair, it contains nuclear DNA. Nuclear DNA is a kind of DNA that narrows it down to the 99.8 point to the highest percentile, right? It's very accurate. But interestingly enough, the hair shaft does not contain nuclear DNA. It contains mitochondrial DNA, which is not as easily narrowed down. It still can narrow down who somebody might be, but it is not as easily narrowed down. So if hair shows up at a crime scene, but there's no victim there, and you just see that something bad went down and you find hair, it might then help narrow down who that person might be. Now, talking about an actual case that involves hair pulling, there are so many small cases that we never ever talk about. And so when you start researching, it's kind of crazy to hear these stories that I think are almost more brutal than a lot of the cases that we run into in the more common spaces, like in podcasts and on TV. And I feel like it's because these brutal cases aren't easily talked about and comfortable. It's just, none of it's comfortable, of course, but these cases are just it's crazy. But I do want to talk a little bit about a case. So in 2012, Stephen Manhood was convicted of brutally beating his wife, Ramona. Now this guy, what a coward. These guys are all freaking cowards. That's what it comes down to. His brother shows up at his home and sees Jerry holding his wife Ramona, who has already passed, and coddling her and saying, "Oh, I love you so much, I love you." And then he claims to the police that she showed up at home beaten up, and he tried to get her to go to the hospital, tried so hard to get her to go to the hospital, but she just wouldn't, and she passed away there in his arms. Well, the police show up to investigate, and there is blood everywhere. There's wet, bloodied clothes up in the bedroom. There is blood all over their car, including hair pulp, and beyond. So more than just hair pulp. Her hair was pulled so hard that there was just more than just her hair there. That's how badly she was brutally beaten and attacked by her own husband, the place that she should feel the most safe. We are now going to talk about ways to get out of your hair being pulled and how to defend yourself if your hair is being pulled. And I hope that this helps you. I hope that it's something that you keep with you and practice. Remember, all of these require practice. If you don't practice, you'll forget it the next day. I promise you, I'm guilty of that. So here we go.
So the hair grab is probably one of the more common things that happens to ladies, not only just men to men, but also say you're, in an argument with another lady, every once in a while somebody grabs your hair. There's good ways to get out of that and bad ways to get out. I know I have so much hair to grab, so obviously this is exactly what I should be teaching, right? But I actually have had longer hair at times, and this is something I can teach you. So ways that people grab your hair are from the front and from the back. Those are really common ways to get your hair grabbed. So here's what we're gonna do. All right. So if you can imagine, most ladies, right? You got your ponytail going, you're out on a run, right? For whatever reason, and they grab you like this. Okay. I'm gonna have an imaginary ponytail for a minute so that she can see. So we'll imagine she grabs me from right about here. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach back and figure out with my hands, right, where I am. Okay. The next thing I'm gonna do is usually I'm gonna come underneath it. Okay. So I'm gonna go this way. One. And see how that kind of turns her? And if I lift it at the same time, then it should come out. So not super complicated. It doesn't really matter if I go the wrong direction, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna reach up with both hands anyways. So as soon as I'm grabbed, I'm gonna reach up with both hands. I feel, wherever I feel that pinky, I'm gonna go this way, right? So pinky's on this side, I'm gonna turn it and rotate. And it's very effective because the more they squeeze, the worse it gets, essentially, right? So that's one way that this can be done. Another way is because there is so much space in the hair, right? Because I have all that room, right? Turning around, right? And facing it is also very effective, okay? So that's called an arm bar. It's a very simple kind of arm bar, but it works really, really well. So we're gonna learn both. I'm gonna suggest the first one you learn, right, is to step away and come back over the top with your elbow, okay? So I'm here.
Okay.
You're gonna step away, grab my hands as you're doing it, right? Two hands together.
Both hands.
Yes, step away. Awesome.
Okay.
So she makes a little bit of space, and then what she's gonna do is she's gonna come over the top with her elbow on my elbow. Yes.
Okay.
As she lifts that elbow up, lift it up, pull my hand, and yes, pull my hand, but squeeze with your elbow here. Pull it up. My hand specifically.
I'm sorry.
You're okay. There you go.
Okay.
Good, right there. Awesome. Okay. So again, right, there's the space, right? We find this space.
Okay.
Right? We make a little bit of room so I can see kind of where I'm going. Right? We got a little bit of room. I got to see where I'm going.
Okay.
Now I want to get my elbow over the top of their hand. Okay? So when I make that turn, if I rotate and find the elbow, I'll have it. So my goal is to get my elbow to come over the top and squeeze down. As this squeezes, ideally you'll pop the arm.
Okay.
Right? Something unpleasant is going to happen for the other person.
Okay.
So step away real quick. Just step away, turn around. Now what you'll notice is it's not comfortable, but you still have some room. And if I'm pulling, it's not the end of the world. Take this arm, go all the way over the top, grab my hands, two hands, good. Squeeze down, lift up.
Like that?
Yeah, it's all right, it's really good. The more pressure I can put towards the top, so this is unpleasant. This is a little less pleasant, but unpleasant, but it's not the worst. This is pretty bad, this is really bad, right? So the deeper you get, the closer you get to me, which is kind of the opposite instinct of most people, is to kind of go away, right? Like, let me get away, and your hair gets pulled, right? Oh no. But that's kind of the opposite of what you want. You actually kind of want to fill that void of space and take it from them and then fracture that arm. Or create enough pain that they let go anyways, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that we just wanted our hair back, right?
Okay.
Don't touch my hair, right? So I'm here. Just give yourself a little space.
Okay.
Turn around. Yep, grab my hand right now.
Grab.
Lift. There you go. That's it. Look, I'm already letting go. There's no way I'm holding on to that. You're fine. Yeah. As soon as this is tapping. So if you are practicing this with your husband, brother, uncle, dog, monkey, if you are practicing this with anyone, right, just remember to establish a tap roll. You can either tap yourself in some cases if you can't reach the other person, or you can tap the other person. Ideally, right, if I can, as she's pulling, I'll tap her, and that's like, hey, let me go. But if I'm turned away, sometimes that's not possible. Tapping myself or saying tap is another way to do it. Okay? So, one more time, right? We're here, right? She makes the space, she comes over the top, and there it is. Very nice. It's super easy. It's a really easy way to get out of it. All right? So, another method of escape, right, is to grab the hands right away. Okay, now duck under my arm right now.
This way?
Yep, and start coming up, 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 up. That's also unpleasant.
So easy.
Yeah, these aren't super complicated. It's not that hard to get out of these locks, out of these positions, right? Grabbing someone's hair is not the best plan. If they pull you really hard and they're trying to pull you to the ground, it's a totally different scenario. But when someone grabs your hair, usually there's this first instinct, and if she just turns right now and brings it up, right, and just starts lifting, 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 that's not gonna feel good. Really, really, really fast, that's unpleasant, right? Men, because of all their chest pressing and things like that, and they're at the gym, tend to have pretty tight shoulders, especially if they're like a gentleman who likes to do the weightlifting, right? So they tend to have pretty tight shoulders. They don't tend to go very far back, right? And so if you can get it to right about here, right, that's about my grip limit before eventually this has to open, and then maybe I get it half an inch more before it goes pop. Okay, so again, either one will work great. My favorite one is the traditional armbar because it's so simple, right? She's going away, she's already feels that and boom, right? It's super, super easy to do, and we can do it from a lot of different positions. That's why it works so good, right? Someone grabbing your shoulder, right, is the same thing, right? If she grabbed here and she goes over the top, I get stuck in the same way. No one should touch you unless they have your permission to make contact with you. No one should be grabbing you and be like, I'm gonna do this, right? So that's one of my favorite women's self-defense techniques for hair grabs.
Thank you so much to Green Martial Arts for teaching me and continuing to teach me all of these techniques. I think this is what has been missing in this true crime obsessed world. We really need to not only be obsessed with the true crime, but obsessed with ways to help ourselves if we ever run into one of these situations. So thank you so much for watching. Again, if you appreciate what I have here, please comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. Bye.